Hello, fellow teachers. Today we will be describing literacy and literacy within social studies. So on the left side of the screen we have a meme, and this meme talking about how this individual likes their milk hot, but they can't eat their cookies till it gets colder, describes a conundrum. And literacy is a never-ending conundrum. It's understood that literacy at times can be hard to understand and hard to apply in the classroom. What does it look like? How do we know it works? Why is it important? These are all questions that arise. However, it is also well known that literacy is a very important aspect in each student's life, hence a never-ending conundrum. Before we even begin, some of you may be thinking, why does literacy even matter? Why does it matter for social studies? Well, let me tell you why. Without literacy, students would not have the necessary skills to understand important texts and writing. First, Lent states that we as teachers must listen to each other in order to humanize the discussion and develop reverence for each other even if we disagree. If we have a debate in a classroom and everyone is having differing opinions, how, as teachers, if we are not listening, would our students? We also have Kylene Beers, Robert Brost, and Linda Reef state that writing is a way to express our thinking to others, using our experiences, our knowledge, our opinions, and our feelings to inform and negotiate our understandings and misunderstandings of ourselves and the world in which we live. Writing is a very important aspect of history. There are certain things for teachers to assess our students with that require us to give writing. If our students can't even incorporate their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences within their writing, what's the point of us being teachers? We also have to realize that readers, described by Tavani, are classified into two separate categories, resistive and word callers. Without literacy, how would we even be able to help these students? Well, the first step to doing so is by defining it. We all know that literacy is defined as the ability to read and write, but then comes the question of how many people actually know that there's multiple forms of literacy. Four of those forms that we're going to go over today is disciplinary, content, multimodal, and digital. To start, we'll look at disciplinary literacy. Lent quotes McConaughey's definition, which described disciplinary literacy as the use involves the use of reading, reasoning, investigating, speaking, and writing required to learn and form complex content knowledge appropriate to a particular discipline. To understand this in the social studies classroom, I included a drawing of a propaganda piece during the Civil War. It's meant to be humorous, and it's courtesy of the National Museum of American History. Students would investigate this primary source. They would develop reasoning behind what the source is trying to say, and then collaborate with each other to form their own conclusions. This promotes inquiry within the classroom. And Swinehart says the way to understand this is metacognition, which can help students successfully make meaning of difficult texts, such as this piece. Normally, if a student in 8th grade history looks at this, they're not going to understand what this means. But by providing the students metacognitive strategies, they'll be able to succeed. Next, we'll discuss content literacy. This is described as the usage of strategies applied to any discipline in order to enhance learning of subject matter. Meaning, this can be done, these strategies I should say, can be done in any classroom. If I direct your attention to the right, we look at the notorious KWL chart. We've all seen these, or used one at some point. They're great for organizing information and giving students an easy way use to break down what they know, what they want to know, and what they've learned, whether they're doing this through our homework reading, reading in classroom, watching a video. It's a great assessment tool for every content area, and as you see through this example, this one uses social studies and math. It's great. Moving on, we'll discuss multimodal literacy. The National Council of Teachers of English describe multimodal literacy as the integration of multiple forms of communications and expressions, such as drama, art, text, music, speech, sounds, physical movements, etc., to enhance or transform the meaning of works. To view this in the history classroom, we can look at a gallery walk. There's an example of a gallery walk to the right that a teacher that I pulled a picture off of Pinterest used. But the way that I'm perceiving gallery walk is by using artifacts and primary sources. It would be a great way for the students to get out of their seats, actively engage with each source through whether it be a sheet of music from Beethoven back in the 1700s, or actual clothing of Civil War heroes and from the Confederate and Union sides. Any type of primary source they would be able to look at, actively engage, and then collaborate with one another. It's a great way for students to have fun with history. Lastly, we have digital literacy. If we use Glister's definition, digital literacy is the ability to understand and use information in multiple formats from a wide variety of sources when it is presented via computers, and particularly through the medium of the internet. This is particularly my favorite, and we use an example from a game called Assassin's Creed Origin. Now, Assassin's Creed has many games, but Assassin's Creed Origin takes place in ancient Egypt. And the reason that I use this particular image is because historians actually work hand in hand with the creators, which is Ubisoft, to make the game as historically accurate as possible. Obviously, there's works of fictions, it is a video game, but the area, the practices that are being done, as you see evisceration, are all part of real life that actually happened, history, but it's in a video game. And as you can see, they actually include pictures of events to the game from the National Museum of Antiquities in Leyden, which is a real place. So by using this game, we can access all these multiple forms, which we saw multimodal literacy, to engage students. It's an extremely engaging, fun way, and there's a way that you can do it without including the violence that comes with an Assassin's game. Now, we understand that there's all of these different forms of literacy, but then we have to anticipate the social and cultural factors that might be involved. And as teachers, it is our job to ensure that the histories, cultures, and languages provided us, as McCarthy and Mohi state, is a gel, and we make sure that gel is stuck together. We need to ensure that we understand how each unique story students face in their daily lives might affect their work in the classroom. It is our job as teachers to provide a rich language environment that includes plenty of opportunities to use language through reading, discussing readings, writings, and sharing writings. Instead of attempting to insert education into the different cultural lives of our students, we need to insert culture into our education. But then there's also the topic of English language learners. ELLs are subjected to twofold standards: language acquisition and understanding of content. These students are not only trying to understand the content, but they're also attempting to learn English at the same time. As teachers, we need to understand that. By setting goals to assess their literacy proficiency in their native languages, we can then transfer these reading and writing skills that they're learning, such as metacognition, inquiry, and more, and transfer that to English skills more easily. Through the power of literacy, this can all be obtained. These are the sources that I used, and these are the sources for the pictures that you saw. Thank you for listening.